I feel like there's been a little bit of a pivot back to let's play the quarterback some snaps. Yeah. And the last couple of preseasons have been just basically third-string guys. So I feel good about this.
Yeah, Bo Nix. Woof.
He looks great.
Oh, boy.
So let's start with the Steelers. Good God, are they awful offensively again. So, listen, if Belichick can get fired, if Andy Reid can get fired, and Pete Carroll can get fired, I know he got an extension, but we can be critical of Mike Tomlin. I mean, Russell Wilson had 5 drives and 1 first down. Pass protection was awful. He and Justin Fields, and they're mobile. 10 quarterback hits, 4 sacks. And these guys run well. They can't run the football. Now, they've tried that the last several years. Last year, middle of the pack. So in the last 5 years, Pittsburgh is 30th in total yards per game. Below Carolina. Below dysfunctional teams like the Raiders and Washington. Below, only the Jets and Giants are worse. And it doesn't matter if it's old Big Ben, young Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. Doesn't matter. And now these guys. 2 mobile guys. They can't move the ball. Pass protection's terrible. And by the way, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields the last 2 years are the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. So if you're wondering why Justin Fields looks skittish and Russell is captain checkdown this weekend, they don't want to get hit. Would you want to get hit if the last couple of years you're the most sacked guy in the league? I wouldn't want to get hit either. And so when you watch this kind of ineptitude on one side of the ball, it's coaching. I'll tell you why. Because organizations the last 10 years, like Washington, the ownership was bad. They couldn't draft and develop. That's just a broken franchise. The Raiders have felt like a broken franchise. I would say the Jets and the Giants right now. Jets have some players. Let's not be dishonest about that. They got some dudes. But they kind of feel like a broken franchise. Pittsburgh doesn't. Pittsburgh drafts well. Really well. They develop well. They have excellent ownership. They're not the biggest spenders, but they're not cheap. And yet, defensively, they're always elite. Yet they're completely, utterly inept on one side of the ball. That's on the head coach. He's run through coordinators. He's run through quarterbacks. That's on Mike Tomlin. They are awful. When a business is not broken, does many things fundamentally well, and you have a department of the business. You know, maybe the sales part of your business is lousy, but the marketing's good, the engineering's good. Well, then you have to go, as the CEO, you got to go to the sales manager and replace the sales manager because everything else is humming at the company. Like Pittsburgh does everything well. They draft, they develop, free agency, they're smart, it's stable. They are just inept offensively. Young, old, Mason Rudolph, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are running for their lives. So this is Mike Tomlin's culture. It's his locker room. It's his offensive coordinator. It's his responsibility. They haven't been good for like 7 years in that area. And they can't produce a rhythm now, last year, the year before, the year before. Again, I think Tomlin would be a great broadcaster. I don't think he's a bad coach. But we're running Andy Reid out of Philly and Pete Carroll out of the NFL and Belichick out of New England. This is the coach's responsibility. How many OCs we've had in the last 7 years? I mean, they draft picks. This is an organization like Green Bay that drafts and develops really, really well. It's on Mike. Okay, so I was later today, next hour, we have Ian O'Connor, a friend and a great New York Times best-selling author of the Aaron Rodgers book. It's all over everywhere. I saw Fox News talking about it. You got the other networks talking about it, other shows on this network. It's getting tons of play on podcasting, and it deserves it. Really interesting book. But, you know, it's about Aaron Rodgers, and it's fascinating, his family and the complexities and how Favre treated him poorly. And it's not all bang on Aaron. It's a deep, complex look into a complex guy. But, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about this. So the last time Aaron Rodgers made a Pro Bowl was 2021. So since that time, C.J. Stroud has come into the league. He's a top 10 quarterback. Now in 2020, Burrow, Herbert, Tua, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, all got drafted. And about that time, just before Aaron's last Pro Bowl, they've all exploded. They're all much better today. So if you look at the AFC, I mean, the NFL quarterback play has exploded last last 5-6 years. But even since Aaron Rodgers won his last Pro Bowl in 2021, and I think by 2021, it had been established as Aaron was making his last Pro Bowl, Mahomes was better, Josh Allen was bigger, stronger, Lamar did things Aaron couldn't. So physically, by the time he made his last Pro Bowl, he wasn't as dynamic as Lamar, as Josh, as Mahomes, top of the class. And now Burrow's better, and Tua's better, and Hurts is better, and Herbert has Harbaugh, and C.J. Stroud, and Trevor Lawrence has his best roster. And a lot of the young quarterbacks I like, or quarterbacks I like, have offensive head coaches or great coordinators. C.J. Stroud, Matt Stafford, Mahomes, like Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Tua, Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert finally. They have offensive coaches or great coordinators we love. Jared Goff has Ben Johnson. You know, C.J. Stroud's offensive coordinator, going to be a head coach next year. Aaron's got Nat Hackett and Robert Saleh, and it's taken 4 snaps in 500-plus days. So this idea, I got into this discussion this weekend. This idea that, thank God, the Savior is back. Well, Sauce Gardner is a better corner than Aaron is a quarterback. And Quinnen Williams is a better defensive tackle than Aaron is a quarterback. And my guess is you will find out this year that Garrett Wilson's a better receiver than Aaron is a quarterback, and Breece Hall's a better running back. He's top 3 in the league, I think, when healthy, than Aaron is a quarterback. The defense is better than the offense. Are we sure Aaron Rodgers is the savior? And instead, we will look at this team by Thanksgiving and going, I'd like to be a little younger and more dynamic at quarterback. This idea that Aaron's going to save it, he's not their best player. Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, Garrett Wilson, these are top-of-the-class guys. I think Breece Hall, when healthy, there's an argument. He's a top 2 back in the league. That kid is explosive. I do think the offensive line will get better this year. Cross your fingers on Tyron Smith's health and Elijah Vera Tucker's health and the rookie from Penn State. But you start looking around. I've watched old quarterbacks fall off a cliff. Peyton Manning was in Super Bowls. Then he was 39, had 9 touchdowns and 17 picks. Fell off a cliff. I watched Brett Favre fall off a cliff. 11 touchdowns, 19 picks. The year after, he was sensational in Minnesota. Aaron's the oldest player in the league, coming off a major surgery. I mean, again, his last season in Green Bay, he had a lower passer rating with a good O-line, with a good running game. He had a lower passer rating with a good coach than Daniel Jones. I think New Yorkers are going, oh, this is the savior. Saviors are usually players in their prime, like Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani. Like saviors are Mahomes or Josh Allen. They're players in their prime, often inexpensive early in their prime. So, you know, I kind of look at this, and that's not to mention all the side stuff with Aaron, which this book points out. I mean, Eric Mangini is one of the nicer guys I've ever worked with, and he tends to be pro-player and pro-franchise. But, I mean, even he had this blunt kind of opinion last week on Aaron's character, which is you cannot deny it once you read this book.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the other 10 guys. He cares about himself. And with Tom Brady, Tom was coachable. Tom wanted to be coached. And even though Tom was the greatest at that position, he was open to ideas that could make him better. But for Aaron, he is just going to do whatever he wants to do, whatever's best for him. You other 10 guys, if it's not good for you, if it's not good for the coaching staff, if it's not good for anybody else, it doesn't matter.
He's not wrong. Ian O'Connor, 1 hour from now. Colin right, Colin wrong as well. I don't want to go hard on the Jets, but I will say this. He is not the best player on the team, and I think it will be established very early. He's not a top 4 player on the team. Sauce, Quinnen, Garrett, Breece are dynamic, jump off a TV screen. He's taken 4 snaps in 500 days, and he's 40. And I watch Manning and Favre fall off a cliff. He's not LeBron, and he's not Brady. He is not that obsessive about his health. He did not get that DNA. He's not as big as Tom. He's not as obsessed as Tom. He's not as big as LeBron. LeBron's a freak of nature. Aaron's just really talented. He's not a freak of nature. Just saying. You think he's the savior? I think you could look up. I think you could look up and look around at a C.J. Stroud and a Burrow and a Trevor Lawrence and a Herbert with Harbaugh and a Josh Allen and Lamar and Deshaun's got Stefanski and go, I wish we were a little younger at quarterback and moved a little better. I don't think that's crazy.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.